Hey guys, the other day I got a great comment from one of the subscribers, and he said psychologically it's important to enjoy living on the amount of money that you earn. And he was talking about your pension or whatever it is, you have to learn to enjoy, to be happy on the amount that you have coming in for your retirement. And I got to think about this, and I says, you know what, that would make a great vlog for many reasons, because I've had so many people contact me in the past, and a lot of them were people saying, "Hey, Steve, I disagree with your sweet spot budget." And I don't want to get too much into my sweet spot budget. This is not what this is about, okay? But a lot of people, they write to me and they say, "Steve, you don't have to be happy, on the sweet spot budget to be happy. You don't have to be in that range." And I get that. I fully understand it. And that's not what the sweet spot budget was about. The sweet spot budget is about getting you from point A to point B okay, and have savings and stuff like that. But I understand that some people can't fit into that category. And some of the guys that were writing to me were living on 800, 700, and even less than that. We had one guy that was living on about 400. Now, all these people were semi-happy. I would say probably about 80 to 90% of them were happy. Maybe 10 or 20% of the low budget people were not, because they wished that they could have more, and they knew that they couldn't make any more money except for COLA increases on their Social Security or COLA increases on whatever else they have coming in, possibly a municipal pension or whatever. But they didn't have a lot of income. But a lot of these guys were happy. Okay, they were telling me, "Hey, Steve, I'm happy on my 700. I live in the provinces. I go into town. I pick up my rice. I grow my own vegetables. I do this." And then other people, they lived in towns and cities and stuff, and they were telling me how happy they were, and they were living on these low budgets. A couple of them had said that they, even on below $1,000, that they had some lowball type of health insurance that didn't pay out a lot, but it paid out pretty decent. And they said that they were okay with it. They were okay. They knew that if they had something major like a cancer or something like that, that they wouldn't be okay. They wouldn't make it. They'd probably have to go back home. A lot of these guys were pretty much written in stone that they're staying here. They're not ever leaving. They're not ever going home. Okay. And they've made it, they put it in their mind that when they die, they die. That's it. And a couple of these people were telling me, "Hey, no matter what, I'm here. I might as well make it the best of it and be happy." And it's all that psychological factor that gets you, thinking like, okay, if you can put yourself here and be happy from day one, when the amount that you're earning, and learn to live off of that, you're okay, because you know what, you're living. But some people, they don't get it, that you can live on the smaller budgets. Like some of these guys were telling me, "Hey, when I want to go talk to somebody, on the internet or something like that, I go down to Starbucks and I grab myself a cup of coffee, or I go down to McDonald's or whatever and I use their internet, or I go over to my friend's house and I use his or whatever, and that saves me a little bit there or whatever." They're talking about things like that. But it's not just about that. It's that psychology factor. The guys are telling me, "Hey, I made something out of it. I figured out a way to get around things and work with it and learn to live with it and be happy about it." And that's the part that a lot of people don't get when they come over here. There's going to be big changes for some people to live on those smaller budgets. And if you're okay with that, and you're psychologically okay with that, you're not going to get depressed about it, then that's getting over the first hump. The next hump is getting into the groove of living like that. And a lot of people, they just don't fathom it. They get over here and they can't get into that groove. And you got to get into that groove. If, like when I first come over here, I was on a smaller budget. I wasn't on one of those super low ball budgets, but I was on about $1,250 a month or something like that. And that's not a low budget, but it is kind of, when you have a family or something, and I have my girlfriend and her daughter and my little boy Cedric, and we were living off of that for a while, but we were doing good. We were happy. The psychological part, I had already come to the conclusion, I'm not going home. I'm staying here. This is my home. And there was no way in hell that I was going to change that idea. And I knew that later on I would get more money because I get, when I turned a certain age, I'll get Social Security. I knew that when I was, I was going to get some more money off some other things, and I had some other things that were kicking in, and eventually I started getting more money. So I knew that eventually it wasn't going to be a long-term thing. But I understand with these other guys, it is long-term. That's all they're getting. Some of these guys are just getting their Social Security benefits and they're low, okay? So it's the psychological part. It's if you're happy here, you got it licked. You're there. It's then it's just about making it. If you can make it, you're good. You are going to have bumps in the road. You are going to have things that that you have to get through. Tough times. I go through it. I've gone through it in the times the time that I've been here, and you're going to go through those same tough times too. But you know what? You don't let those take you down. You don't let anything take you down here, because the Philippines can drag you down. I've watched people come over here, vloggers, start up here where they were in a good spot and they had good positive vibes going out into the world, like where they're really doing really well. They had everything going for them. Even though they were on a low budget, I was saying, man, this guy's going to make it, We had a guy from down south. He was on a low ball budget. He smoked a lot, he drank a lot, but he started a vlog. And at first I was saying the vlog looks like he could succeed. He could make this work. And then all of a sudden he started, you could tell the drinking and everything was taking a toll on him psychologically. You could tell that problems with women and stuff like that was starting to do damage, and his psyche just wasn't all there, and he fell apart. And now he's on the run from the BI, I heard. That was the last thing I heard, and I haven't heard anything since then. But he's a Southerner. He's from Alabama, and I used to talk to him. He used to ask me for a load or something like that. That was like his gig. He'd hit you up for a load or some money for cigarettes, or hey, can you send me a few bucks or something like that? And you know what? I sent him a few bucks one time, and I believe I might have even put some load on his phone or something like that. This is a long time ago when I first got here, and I laid my boundaries down with him right away, and I told him that's it. I'm just going to help you this one time. That's it, and that's all I did. But to watch him fail, and like I said, the last time I heard was BI was chasing after him. So that's not a success story, and he said that he's not going to let anybody get him. I guess he still gets his money from back home or whatever, and he's just happy living over here. So I'm sure he probably took off to the provinces. He's probably living out in the provinces or what have you, and he's probably okay with that. But is he really happy? I don't know. But then I've watched people like, I believe his name is Chris Wren, the guy from the UK. Chris Wren, he has switched gear. Like when he first came over here, he wasn't on a high income budget. He was on a low ball budget, but he was living okay. I was watching him. I'm saying, man, this guy, he's not living great, but he's got his internet, he's got friends, he's got the lady next door, coming over and helping him with food or whatever, and all types of stuff that he was pulling together. And then next thing you know, I see him. He has a girlfriend. He has a kid, and he's got this place, and he made his house his own. So he has a comfort zone where he can go stay, and that's part of it, is having a house that you can have your comfort zone, and that helps with you psychologically, that you pull it together, because you have a place. If you have a place to go home and lay your head every day, and eat every day there, that's the biggest part. As long as you're not homeless or you're not bouncing from place to place like some of these guys, and I don't see how, like the guy from down south in Alabama, that he could be psychologically happy because of the fact that he's bouncing around too much. He's got the alcohol problem. He's got a lot of issues like that, and I'm not going to mention the guy's name. A lot of you guys know who I'm talking about, but I mean, I don't know if he's happy. Maybe he is. Maybe he's not. I probably think that he's not, but I've seen Chris's videos. He has his days and he has his problems and he has his issues, but would I say he's unhappy? I don't know. I think he seems pretty happy, and I've watched some of the other low ball budgets vloggers there, and they're saying that that they're happy, and that's great. So it's the psychological part that's going to pull you through. Do I recommend going on those low ball budgets if you don't have to? No, absolutely not. But if you're going to come over here, I'm not going to tell you to come over here on those low ball budgets and think that you can make it, because I don't know where you are psychologically. I see guys come over here, they're on excellent budgets, and psychologically they can't make it because of anxiety, PTSD, and many other issues, and they end up going home. So psychologically, if you're not psychologically fit to come over here, I would not come over here. But if you think you can come over here and you got the wherewithal to push through all the problems that you're going to have when you're over here, and you have enough money that you know that you can survive over here and make it, and you're going to have COLA increases and stuff like that, maybe you can make it over here. Would I say you can come over here with $400 or $500 as a budget? No, hell no. I think you're setting yourself up for failure from the get-go. Some people can do it, but you're not going to live fancy. You're not going to live great. We've talked about that many, many, many times in the past. But come over here psychologically fit, and psychologically, if you can get happy on the income that you're living off of, if you can, you have to be happy, because that's all you got. And that's why I think a lot of people, they have this argument with me, like, man, I can live on 700, I can live on 800, because that's where they have to live. That's all they got. That's all they got. So psychologically, they've made themselves, happy, saying, hey, I'm okay on this, because that's all they have. Their mind has already, got into that groove and says, hey, this is all you're getting. You might as well be happy on it. And that's a good thing to have, that psychological that psychological fit. If you can fit into that and get into that groove and into that happiness zone, that's the key right there. That's the key. Just like that guy said at the beginning, that's saying that he said, you have to get into that happiness. No matter what income you're making, it's good to be happy on that. You have to be happy on it. That's all you got. So, and my girlfriend was saying the other day about Filipinos. She goes, that's the way Filipinos work, Steve. She goes, no matter what income that they're making, they're always happy. They're always happy. That's the key to success over here, is always being happy, whether you're poor, you're rich, or whatever. Live like a Filipino in that aspect. You know what I mean? That's the key. God bless, guys. Take care.